back to the WMAKP podcast.
Dude, stop emphasizing the P.
I'm sorry. Welcome back to the WMAKP podcast. I'm your host this time, Alex, and I'm here with Jon, the other host of the podcast. Make sure you find this episode on YouTube, on Spotify, Amazon Music, whatever we're on
I think
now.
it's also on Apple Podcasts.
Is it on Apple Podcasts?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome. Find us on Apple
I think
too.
It's in there.
Hey,
I'll have to
just
double check
listen
that.
to our episode. It's awesome.
Just look it up.
And obviously we have cameras now, so you can watch the episodes on YouTube. The 2 episodes ago, awesome. Or I shouldn't probably say 2 episodes ago. A few episodes ago, we just started using cameras, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah,
It was
we
surprisingly
did
really
awesome.
Good. We got some lights this time.
Yeah, and we're all fancy now. We got some blue hue coming up here. You know, up in my corner, I got all this back here. You know, we're getting fancy out here, Jon.
No,
We're getting real fancy.
Somewhere. Now we just need actual good cameras.
No. Hey,
Solid.
that our main camera, that's the crappy one. You look fantastic. I look fantastic. That sucks.
I don't know. I sort of like the cool color though.
Yeah. You know, I
different.
mean, hey, it looks good. At least it works. I think that's what matters.
That's true. The last
At
couple
least,
of smartphones
at
did
least
not
it
work.
works. And then obviously we have little Snoopy here now hanging off of Jon's microphone.
We got the mascot.
It
guys.
looks. I think it looks a lot better now, because now you can actually see him. It's not blown out back here. He's not super tiny, so you know. Eventually, I'll have something dangling off of mine. I don't know. We'll have
Maybe
to
you
figure
can find
something
another
out.
karate Snoopy.
We'll have to figure out something eventually.
We'll see.
But today's what's it called? I just had a brain fart. Episode is based on controlling your child.
Let's go back here real quick. So control as in, so when you're a teacher, a parent, an instructor, when you're trying to teach them something, you cannot control them.
And this is specifically small children.
Small children.
Actually,
any age.
I mean, children in general.
To children.
I don't know. Obviously, me and Jon are not parents.
We're not
and
parents.
we hope not to be for, at least I hope not to be for a few more years. I'm guessing you too.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good for a while. I got plenty of kids to work with at the dojo.
Yeah. So, you know, we do not have experience tucking a child into bed, working with a child throughout, you know, from them time they're born to the time they're 18. But
as an educator standpoint, we have I've had plenty of experience, a lot of mistakes, a lot of okays, and a lot of good as well. And the one thing, like, especially as an educator standpoint, you cannot control your kid. You cannot control your student, the child. You cannot control them. That is nearly impossible. So in the short run, yeah, you can control them, yelling at them, putting fear into them, scaring them.
That's a terrible way to
but in
do
the
it.
long run, it's going to backfire and it's going to be bad in the future.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to talk about, as an educator standpoint and a possible slight parent standpoint, on sort of how to get your child to do what you want them to do.
There's no better way to say that, Jon. I am sorry to tell you.
No, you're right. So I think one thing to do is, I actually had a dream about this.
All right, let's hear it.
On controlling a child.
That's not good.
No, it's not me controlling a child, but someone asked me about how to control a child.
Okay.
And the way that I mentioned it, and it's very true, is that you don't tell them what to do. You give them the situations to choose from. For instance, you want them to go to bed. Now, you can tell them to go to bed, yell at them, and say, I'm going to ground you, or I'm going to take away this, right? That's just negative reinforcement. That's just punishment. It's not even negative reinforcement. That's punishment, right? But we want to get to the positive reinforcement, the way to get them to understand that this is the correct behavior. Have you used these skills before, Alex?
Yes and no. Yes and
I mean, you're still practicing. You're still practicing.
I teach a lot more of the super young kids, more than you do.
True.
I have the little dragons now, I think is what they're called. It's not tiny tigers
They're
anymore.
the 5-year-olds.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, the young kids. There's 2 classes of those. I'm there
Of course,
for both of
in
them.
karate, it's gonna be very different than what you're gonna do as a parent or educator.
Oh,
Because you can't just make them say,
absolutely.
"Okay, since no one's," then you're saying this in your head. Okay, since no one's doing this, we're just gonna have them run.
No.
You can't do that
No.
at school. We're
No.
purely talking about an educator and slightly parental standpoint of this.
Yes. Those. I'm trying to organize my thoughts right now.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I'll keep on talking.
Yeah,
okay,
you
so
keep
keep on
talking.
thinking.
Let me organize
on
my thoughts a
thinking.
little bit. I'm sorry.
Because when we do this part, you are giving them situations. So, for instance, you want your child to go to bed. So, how are you going to get them to go to bed? What situation are you going to give them so they choose the right one, so they feel like they have a choice into choosing the correct one? For instance, you have them go to bed, and then as a reward, you do something for them. But it cannot be monetary value. You cannot say, I will buy you a video game. I will buy you in-game currency. I will give you money. That is not going to work, and you are doing a very negative reinforced behavior here. Because they're now going to expect if they just listen to you, they will get money. You don't want that because you're going to go broke, and they're going to keep on doing bad things no matter what. So you gave them positive situations. For instance, if you want them to go to bed, actually, let's change it up. Since it's summer, we'll say beach. You want them to leave the beach. We'll go with that one. How's that?
Yeah.
You want them to leave the beach, but they don't want to. Situation 1, you say, okay, well, let's leave now. And then next time you come to the beach, we'll stay 15 minutes longer. And to a child, 15 minutes is a long time. Right? And you say, okay, and then we'll give you another option. If we can go back now, I will give, we'll have your favorite dinner tonight. Because dinner's needed. Dinner is a necessity for your meals, technically, right? So you give them positive reinforcements here that will allow them to pick the correct choice, and at the same time, you positively reinforce that situation. So, but if you say this, hey, if we go to the beach, I'll give you $5. So now they're just going to expect money out of all of it. Right? You want them to pick the correct choice. Now, you also have to give them a third choice, the wrong choice, the bad choice, the one you don't want to do to them. Saying if we can leave the beach now, if we don't leave the beach now, then next time we're going to have to shorten the time. So instead of 2 hours today, we could only be here for an hour next time. Right? You give them a negative choice. And you hope they take more of the positive choice than anything else. So you give them situations.
It's been proven for kids, like positive reinforcement works.
Yeah, it works.
So much better than negative reinforcement.
Well, not just negative, but punishment. Punishment doesn't work.
No.
Punishment will never work, and it's been proven in counseling that punishment just doesn't work. You think it works. Of course, let me put a disclaimer out here. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. But we have an instructor that has a master's in psychology and is currently working as a counselor as well. So we get this information from him, get it from his boss as well, and we reinforce this idea by using it in karate. So that's our disclaimer right there.
Good.
I should say that at the beginning.
Yes,
but
yeah, absolutely. So situations in karate, what if you had to use a negative reinforcement? What situation do you feel like would be
I think you're getting
appropriate for negative reinforcement?
I think you're getting negative reinforcement and punishment mixed up.
No. Okay. So in our dojo, if somebody does something severely wrong, it usually ends up in 100 push-ups. What would you say that is? Positive or a punishment, or would you say that's more negative reinforcement? Right.
That's the tough part, because in karate it's very different. I'm not even talking about karate I'm talking about,
know
but
that,
in karate, that would be. I would like to consider that as a little bit of. I can't technically say this, but it's a little bit of both. Because they did a wrong choice and it's a severely bad choice, you have to punish that bad choice. So no matter what. But that's for the push-up side of things. But if they're testing and they make a bad choice, you can't give them a stripe. That is negative reinforcement. You see where I'm going with this?
Yes.
So what someone I was testing real quick. You can leave it on both. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you can leave it, there you go.
I'm sorry.
We had a student I was testing. He's very infamous for making not very good choices. He was testing for his next stripe, and everybody else was doing partner drills, like partner sit-ups. I had him go run, and he decided he decided to jump over someone while he was running during his test.
Oh, yep, I remember.
And
this.
I couldn't pass him. I couldn't give him the stripe, even though he did everything else correct because of that wrong choice. I have to negative reinforce by not giving him his stripe.
Okay.
Now, if you are an educator or a psychologist or a counselor, please tweet me if I am wrong about negative reinforcement. Please. Because when I took Psychology 101 and 102, I always got negative reinforcement and punishment mixed up. But I think I have a better idea now. So when you are
honestly, I would say... sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You. But going back to that point, right? I would say that's a little bit of both. For jumping over that student, you got punished, as in you don't get your stripe.
See, that's not a punishment, though.
To me, that's for me. Thinking as a small child, though, thinking as a student of our karate school, I would personally feel that would be a punishment. But like I said, thinking as a small child, I agree with you that it is negative reinforcement, right? You did this, now we can't do this for you.
Exactly.
Right?
That's negative. But yeah, I understand what you're talking about now. As a child, everything is a punishment if they don't get anything. They think that's a punishment, which makes sense. But that's why we talk about things in the class.
Absolutely, yeah.
We try to explain as much as we can so the students understand and the parents understand.
And
that's the goal.
that would be my next thing. As a parent, I'd feel like I understand what you did there, right? But at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, what do we do from here?
It's correcting. So we call it, I think in counseling too, they call it as well as behavioral modification.
Okay.
Right? It's not like we're trying to force their behavior, but we're trying to change their behavior for the better. And for some reason, I still don't understand why this is the case, but counselors always refer kids to go to karate. I don't understand, because not all karate or martial arts instructors are capable of handling kids with challenges. Yeah. I mean, no one is taught, especially in school, if you're not taking psychology or counseling classes, is how are you supposed to cope and deal with kids that have challenges? We're lucky. Our sensei, our instructor, has a master's in psychology and has done counseling for many of years.
Yes.
We're lucky. Yep. So we're able to learn from that and ask questions. How do we deal with this?
And I mean, as a student going to school for teaching,
it helps so much.
It is bizarre to me that people can go to school for business and say, "Oh yeah, I teach karate." That is false. I mean, obviously, karate is a business. If you're running a karate school as a business, my brain just farted again. A business degree, excuse me, right? A business degree, it is very helpful, right? You know how to run your business. You know this is what needs to happen, this, and this. But if you know how to run a business, how do you know how to teach? Right. So I feel right. So I feel like there's you either get somebody that knows how to teach that doesn't understand quite very well how to run a business, or somebody that knows how to run a business but doesn't know how to teach. I feel
it's hard to find both.
It's hard to find a balance. It's hard to find a good karate school, a good martial arts school that can do both. Right? Because obviously, as a parent, you want your kid to come and learn something. You want your kid maybe discipline issues. I had discipline issues. That's why I'm here right now. I wouldn't be here if I didn't have discipline issues, obviously. But my parents started me in karate because I had discipline issues. And because our sensei understands how to run a business, he also understands the psychology of children and adults and everything, right? He was able to turn that, right, those discipline issues into something a little bit more, right? Yeah. He was able to help me, push me back over to all right, now you're a respectable person. You're no longer being a problem child.
No, it's
You know?
but of course it's not like he learned that off the bat.
No,
It takes time, it takes practice. So
You know-
I mean, it's not like you're gonna understand it right off the bat. You have to have an eye for it. You have to watch it. You have to practice in order to understand. Okay, this is how I deal with this situation. But as a parent and as an educator, as a teacher, as a professor, it takes time to modify the student's behavior. You're not gonna get overnight, and you have to earn their respect. That's the hard part.
Little kids are gonna come in and be
Not
like,
just little kids, but
I mean
teenagers as
everybody.
well. Yeah.
They're gonna come in and say, I don't know this guy. I don't trust you. I don't like you. That's the attitude.
Especially
they're
if
gonna
they're
enter
going to school and they don't like school.
that's the attitude they are going to enter in. I mean, maybe not the don't like you part, but there's like, I don't know you, so I don't trust you, right? So every class, we say this all the time, we are constantly earning your trust, right? We're doing drills. Like some of those games we do is for us.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys start trusting us more, right? As instructors, our goal is to teach your kid. And if your kid does not trust us, if your parent does not if you as a parent don't think we know what we're talking about, don't believe in what we're teaching, we will not be able to teach your kid. Because I don't know about you,
Parents' support is very vital to the child's growth as a karate student.
And being participating in the dojo. This episode is about control, about trying. You can't control your child, right? But if the parent trusts us, right, and leads to us being able to teach your student to understand. All right, I understand. I need to follow this person. You know,
and the coolest thing is though the skills and the tools that we try to use during class to help the child, you can also modify it for yourself and use it at home.
Yes,
you can. So when we say things and we have them do stuff, it's not just for our own benefit, but hopefully we can help you back at home and try to sort of use it, because yelling will not help at home. And especially as a karate instructor, if you're yelling the whole time at the student and that child has problems of their parents yelling at their home, nothing's going to get done.
No.
Nothing's going to get done. So as a school teacher, as some sort of educator, you sort of have to understand that this child has problems back at home. So you have to modify your teaching style to that as well. Of course, in a standardized school, it's sort of hard to do that. But there are ways to help, and there are ways to sort of lead the children onto a better path. Because what we're trying to do is not force them to do anything. We're not forcing.
We're not trying to control. We're not forcing.
We're guiding them through that thorny bush to help them become a better person. So.
Yep. Next point. I had a question for you.
Yes.
So, in your entire lifetime of teaching karate,
okay,
what is a piece of positive reinforcement that you placed super early on that showed back up?
Oh, compliments.
Compliments towards this showed back up much later on.
Much later on?
Yeah, I mean, much later on is subjective. So either
like what do you mean? Like
a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, like you saw something you did at when the student was a lower rank that helped that same student in the future, maybe going for another rank, maybe doing a kata, something like that. What piece of positive reinforcement?
After a very hard test that I pushed them through, I promote the student in front of everybody, and I say positive things. I compliment them about their hard work.
And you think that you see that change?
Yeah.
In their
because
demeanor,
we're reinforcing their good behavior.
Okay.
What you have to do is, I'm still trying to work on this part too. In general, even with not just parents, but with everybody, is reinforcing their positive behavior. Well, because what you have to do is when they do something good, immediately point it out. Immediately say, "Oh my God, that was such a good job." Can't fake it. You have to be genuine, 100% genuine. You have to see them like, wow, you did a good job. I mean, every little thing that they do good, you have to compliment. I wouldn't say everything. I'm talking about like younger child.
Yeah.
When they get older, it's not as much, but you still have to compliment them in front of everyone.
But you think, like you've seen a change in those kids, right?
Yeah.
They try. I mean, obviously you see a change in short term, right? Immediately after, if you compliment said kid, all the other kids are going to try harder. I've seen that. I know you've seen that, right? I know that some of the Team Storm members have seen that, right? We're still getting the focus thing too weird.
It's once in a while. It's not bad.
Yeah,
it's not
but
that bad.
In the long term, right? Same thing, right? That kid takes that piece. Oh, I did that really well. Let me ingrain that into my brain now, and you keep seeing that consistently.
Yes,
right.
And especially if that child starts as a very timid. I was saying shy and timid at the same time there. I said shy and timid. Wow. But timid and shy, especially if a student is very timid and shy at the very beginning. And the fact that they're counting loud and being a leader, and you compliment them on that, that reinforces stay with them forever. Forever. Okay. So that's I mean, future instructor, especially even you're a teacher and they do good on something, especially if it's a kid that's struggling, if you compliment them, they'll stay trying hard and say, oh my gosh, the teacher recognizes me. Of course, when they're a teenager, they want their friends to recognize them even more, so that's a little bit tougher as a high school teacher. But it still helps. Everybody wants attention, no matter how old, how young you are. Everybody wants attention. Everybody wants compliments. It's a fact.
I mean, humans thrive on interaction
and attention.
And I mean,
so I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like I want attention once in a while too. Don't get me wrong. Like especially when we had our seminar here, we had one of the senseis. He went around to everybody else. I'm just like, can you see me for a little bit?
What about me?
Yeah, well, can help me for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
No, it's not like bad attention, but it's sort of the attention where like I want help too. So
I mean, it doesn't help that you are the sensei's son, and
that too. I don't think it's that anymore.
And you've been doing it for so long. I think it's that.
I have been doing it for a long time. That's not wrong, but no. So good questions by the way, Alex. Good questions.
Next question.
Okay.
Is there a time where you said, I should not have done that? Either positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement?
Yes, 100%.
I want to split that into two questions.
Okay.
A time where you shouldn't have done positive reinforcement? No. You've never had that?
Nope, never had that.
Okay, a time you should not have done negative reinforcement.
Instead of negative reinforcement, I did punishment.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I really messed up.
When was this?
When I first came back from Japan.
Okay.
When I was a little rusty on all the teaching and karate stuff. It was a student that was testing for a really high rank. He didn't want to test. He didn't want to do anything. We were doing individual lessons. He didn't want nothing to do with karate. He wanted to quit. And a part of me was like, if you're not going to do it, don't do it then. What's the point in still doing it if you're just going through the motions? And then the next part of me says, okay, let's just get this done. He can do it. But the first half got more over than the other half. And then it was just like, and I had to sit down. I'm just like, hey, what are you doing? Do you even do you want to quit? And he's like, yeah, I want to quit. Okay, we're done. Quit. And I said, okay, walk out the door. Go. And he walked out the door, and I only saw him once after that, and that was it. So it was for a really high rank. I think I should have done something. I don't know what else would I've done in that situation. I might have had him take a break and then come back and try it again. I don't know. But I think in that sense, I think I should have changed my own attitude at the same time. Because when you see a child, you're working one-on-one with a child and don't want to be there, you as the instructor are like, why am I here? Why am I even here teaching this person if this person won't listen, won't do this, and won't absorb this information? There's no point in me being here. So when I was like, okay, we're done. I'm done with this. Quit. Go. If you want to quit, quit. And that was the end of that.
Okay. All right.
So that was my mistake. It's been 2 years since then. A little over 2 years now. But I think overall it's
has it helped you improve your teaching?
Oh yeah.
That mistake it's helped change your view on how to deal with that sort of child, I guess. Because before I left for college and go to Japan, before any of that, I was tired of karate. Everybody that didn't listen were like, I don't even want to teach you. What am I even here for? Right? I was just tired. I didn't want to do anything with karate. I was just, get me out of here. You needed a break.
I needed a break. I was burnt out. I was focused so much on everything else. I wanted a different life at the time. So when I came back, and then Sensei asked me a question while we were sitting down, he's like, and this is about a specific student. He's like, so you just think he's a piece of grain, piece of sand, just like everything else we just toss to the side? I'm like, no, of course not. Of course, no matter how bad a student is, that student is my student. I will always teach them as they are going to be staying there for the next 2 years. If you can keep that mentality and want to help them improve, that's going to change your own mentality, and you want to help them every single day. Of course, you're human, so you're tired. You want to be like, yeah, I don't want to deal with this person. I know what this person's going to do, But if you change your own mentality and thinking, if this person stays here for another 6 months to a year, I could change this person. I can make this person think a different way and help them improve.
Okay.
If you do that as an educator, as a martial arts instructor, as a counselor, as a psychologist, whatever it is, that's going to change your own mentality. Of course, you have to be open about everything else as well and continue to learn about it. 'Cause of course, I'm still learning. I still got another 30 years in this. I'm still learning.
I gotta keep going.
No, it was like a aha moment for me when I came back.
Okay.
It was amazing. I just felt good about everything. Where like, I can help these people, and I've already seen it this last year. I have seen so much improvement into everybody. Of course, some people are slower than others, but I love the feeling of seeing someone become better than what they were before. Of course, like I said about the timid people, that person is not as timid as they used to be. Of course, they're still timid. That's in their nature, but not as much anymore. And one of our old students came back. Remember that when we went to go get burgers?
Yeah.
He said, yeah, sales isn't for me. But when he first started, he had zero communication skills.
Oh, my goodness.
Zero.
Yes. The student
But he's
did
in
not
sales, and he's doing better than everybody else.
He has more personal skills, interpersonal skills than anybody else in his area, in his division.
Yeah.
So it just shows how much karate does for you as a person.
It's just awesome to see that. And as long as we instructors and educators keep that positive thinking and keep on wanting to improve and help them improve, it's going to help.
Yeah.
And then like the beginning of this episode, we talked about the theme of the episode is we're not controlling anybody. We can't control anybody. That's impossible. But as long as we keep a positive mentality and giving them situations and options for them to choose one, hopefully they choose the right ones, we're doing our jobs right.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think we're getting close to the end here. Close? Yeah, we're getting close here.
We are.
Yeah,
I've been going off on a tangent.
See, I wanted to have good questions.
Yeah,
good questions is important to me. One, maybe two pieces of advice you would give to an instructor, a teacher, an educator, or even a parent. That would help you reinforce your kid, to help your kid understand that this is good for them, right? This helps them.
First thing, be open to your child.
What do you mean by that?
Explain why you're doing these things in a positive manner. Do not tell them because I said so, or because I'm your parent, or because I'm your mom, I'm your dad, or anything, or don't yell at them. You have to say, the reason why I want you to do this is because I want you to gain experience. I want you to do this because this is good for you for this reason. I want you to do this, like say mowing the lawn. I hate mowing the lawn. Absolutely hate it. I don't know anybody that loves mowing the lawn.
I'm with you.
I hate mowing the lawn. I'm not much of a physical working person. Like, I hammerish. I've done digging before. I mowed for the summer.
You did a lot of digging.
I built houses with people before. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it, but
manual labor is not for you, John.
It's not. I don't like it very much, but I will do it. If I have to, I will. But
just as everybody else.
It is good for you though.
Yes.
It gives you a different perspective on life. It gives you a different perspective on your work. You appreciate things a lot more. So if you explain to your child, the reason why we're doing this, the reason why I want you to do this is because of this. You have to keep a calm voice. You can't freak out as a parent. You can't be stressed. You have to remain neutral and calm to the child and explain, this is why we're doing it. So that's my first piece of advice.
Good. My pieces of advice, I didn't talk very much in this episode about what I did. I think this was a good episode for John to talk about what he knows and everything like that. Because, you've been doing it a lot longer than me. You've seen a lot more progression.
I have a
through
lot more
students.
mistakes as well.
Yeah, you've seen a lot more progression through students. My piece of advice would be, as an instructor, make sure you keep that positive mindset where you're always open to your students, your parents, right? You let them know that you're there for them. You're not there for yourself as an instructor. I hope you're not there for yourself as an instructor. I think this episode I did bring up the business versus the teacher side, right? This was this episode, okay? You need to be there as an educator, even though it is a business, even though you are trying to make money from it, live off of this, make sure you're there as an educator, not a business person, right? Not as somebody that's there only for the money.
At the very start, you don't want to be in it for the money. It's going to take time, just like any other business takes time. But after a couple of years, 3, 4, 5 years, got to be able to adapt to both. That's what I learned from a lot of people.
All right. Your second piece of advice.
Second piece of advice. This is the hard one. Is because you, as an educator, as a parent, you have to learn how to cope with your stress. When kids aren't listening to you, when kids aren't doing what you want them to do, when kids aren't taking the right options or the right situations, you, as the teacher, as the educator, have to stay calm the whole time. And I'm just saying this, find ways to vent. Find people to talk to and relieve your stress. You have to go out, and don't do it the wrong way. Don't vent your anger or stress in the wrong way. Try to do it the right way. Talk with friends, talk with family members, so you can sort of vent these emotions, the reason why the kids aren't listening. And then maybe your friend or family members might say something positive. So learn to cope, learn to vent when kids aren't listening, and then find out-of-the-box situations to maybe help the child pick the right one.
All right. I like it. My second piece of advice, this one's hard for me. I say this constantly, understand the child. But in this context, I think it means more understand maybe like the parents more. Understand the family.
Yeah, that's good, actually.
Understand
really good.
the family. Every family has a different dynamic. I think, maybe something different. Each family talks differently in a group setting, Each family communicates differently. Understand the family you're teaching and kind of almost cater your style of teaching to help the parent understand too, right? That's your goal as an instructor, is to help the parents understand what you're teaching. Because there's always that layer of trust that you need to build up. And for that parent to trust you, they need to understand, right? I don't know. My dad, if to trust anything, he does research. He always is researching something, right? He's constantly reading the news, constantly reading different sources of information. He doesn't take any source of information the first time he sees it. He's like, all right, I read this. Now I want to go find out more about it. See what's true about it. See what's false about it. See if the article got it right, wrong. Who cares? Whatever, right? Understand, right? Do a little bit of research as an instructor. Talk with the family. Talk with the child. Talk with the mother, the father independently, right? And then talk to them all together, right? Do a little bit of research to understand who you're talking to, who you're teaching, just in general, right? I don't know how else to word that. So, yeah. But
one more thing. I want to say
one more thing.
Yep, just one more thing. I have to.
We're running out of time. We got to go quick.
I just want to say this one real quick. Is use positive reinforcement as much as you can.
That's a good one.
You want to reinforce the positive behavior constantly, all the time, not just here and there. Constantly use positive behavior. That's it. That's all I have to say. So what are you doing over
Nothing.
there? Okay. Anyways,
right.
Thank you so much for your time today. I hope this episode was very beneficial to you guys. I think Alex got some really good information this time as well.
I wanted to make sure we had good, I like do it, like I said, research. Research is important to me. to my family in general, knowing what we're talking about. I've gotten a lot better at it. I used to be terrible. I used to be one of those people like, I saw it on Facebook. Don't be that person. Do research. Talk. Invest your time into something you really care about. If karate is one of those things you really care about, invest your time into it, right? As a parent, we upcoming for our dojo specifically, we have an adult class coming up, and I think it's going to be a fantastic class. It's going to be a fantastic class. Lots of parents starting out to learn karate, and I mean, we already have parents that do it here at our dojo, and it's. They love it. They can say that it has helped them, their kids, become better people, understanding what we're teaching, understand what we're doing, understand why we do it. I think why is the most important for us. But anyways, yes, thank you so much for listening or watching this episode. Again, follow us on, subscribe to us on YouTube. English is hard. Follow us at the WMAKP Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
Hold off on the TikTok real quick. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out.
We'll figure it out. Right.
But yeah, follow us on everywhere. Twitter. Follow us on Twitter because that's where we try to answer your questions the most.
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter and then give us questions. We can answer them here on the podcast.
Yes.
On Twitter.
Eventually, if we do get Twitter questions, we'll put them up on the screen too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. We'll read them out too, of course.
So, you guys, whoever's listening to this, have a great rest of your day, night, evening, whatever it is.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Peace.